Zelenskyy believes in Ukraine's victory before 2024 U.S. elections.
Here's a summary of the article.
President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has commented on the possible loss of U.S. military support for Ukraine after the 2024 U.S. presidential election, saying that Ukraine could gain victory by then. Details: Zelenskyy dismissed fears of losing U.S. support if President Joe Biden, who has pledged to support Ukraine for as long as necessary, is not re-elected in 2024. Zelenskyy stated that Ukraine still has bipartisan support in the U.S. Congress. The president believes that Ukraine would gain victory in the war before the U.S. presidential election on 5 November next year. Details: the president voiced confidence that the Ukrainian military would advance during the expected counter-offensive, warning of the risks of a «frozen conflict», which, according to Zelenskyy, Russia is counting on. Background: former U.S. President Donald Trump, who is Biden's likely opponent in the election, believes that the United States is providing too much military aid to Ukraine. Trump also refused to say who he thought should win in Russia's war against Ukraine, saying instead that he wished everyone to stop dying.
This post received a score of 13,000, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
While I do believe Ukraine is capable of getting military victories over Russia on the battlefield, I also believe Putin will have no problem throwing more Russians into the meat grinder until the elections are held. He doesn't need to win the war, he just needs to hold out until Western governments get leaders who decide to no longer support Ukraine.
Such a decision will be a gamble by Putin. You see, he also has re-election in 2024, and while it's totally a sham, it's also the most dangerous day for him as a dictator. If enough people gonna be unhappy with mobilization and other factors, the riots will ensue, and some people like Prigozhin, who currently calling Putin a prick, could seize this opportunity to take power in their own hands. Russian Mobiks also run if they put up against anything that outmatches them in equipment, so while Putin can mobilize millions, the more important issue is military equipment for them. Mobiks showed that they have no desire to fight a superior military tech. If Russia mobilizes more people as meat, those are not really capable of attacking with just firearms, and in the best case scenario those millions are gonna dig up and sit, and even if none of them are running away, you now have a logistical nightmare to keep those couple of millions supplied, and Russian military already struggles as it is. So while maybe a tempting decision to just add more people to the war, it also has a lot of negative drawbacks. You make your people unhappy, you look like a fool who can't advance even with millions of mobilized people, more people are getting weapons who are not directly under the control of Kremlin, the war becomes even more costly, etc.
The UK, Italy, Poland, Czechia, Slovakia, the Baltic states, and the Scandinavian states will never stop their support for Ukraine until there is a decisive end to this war. Frankly, for all the murmuring of discontent amongst the Republicans, I'm really unsure of whether this would yield any real change in policy even if, say, Trump were to win. The Republican base has traditionally been quite hawkish, particularly towards Russia, and this is too good an opportunity for the mic for its constituents to not exert every scrap of political influence they have to keep the congressional dollars rolling. All of this isn't to mention that Ukraine has already received plenty of ammunition, and that while more is obviously better, and will be required, there's probably not a whole lot that even the most Russophile president will be able to do to reverse the situation by the time January 2025 comes around.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.